Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey with your host, Dave Westcott. The Entrepreneurial Journey is a weekly podcast that streams live every Tuesday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on Dave's YouTube channel and LinkedIn profile. Now here's Dave with this week's episode.
Good morning and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm Dave Westcott, CEO of Evergreen Brands. This morning I have with me special guest Billy Blau. Good morning, Billy. How you doing?
Morning, Dave. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you're here. I love that little intro we got with that Western Enforcer that we got going on out there. That's a sharp-looking little plow we've got, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty efficient piece of equipment. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah. I love that. So Billy is National Accounts and Sales Manager for Douglas Dynamics, and that means what to all of us?
So my responsibilities at Douglas Dynamics encompass all of our relationships with large contractor fleets who have a national presence, hence the term national accounts. So companies like TransBlue, for example, who are, performing snow and ice removal and keeping people safe across the country. Those are my customers and those are my partners.
That's awesome. Are you based out of Wisconsin area? Is that where you're out of as well?
That's where Western Snowplows is out of, but I'm actually personally out of Pennsylvania. So,
okay.
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Nice. I really enjoyed the Western tour with SIMA, as I'm a member of SIMA Snow and Ice Management Association. Love it out there. But one of the things that really turned me on to Western and just the whole group was taking the Western tour at that facility out there and really learning about how a snowplow was made. Like, you think about everything that goes into it, and I really love that every one of those parts was made in America. Yeah. This podcast is about the entrepreneurial journey. It's about what does it take to build a business? What does it take to run a business? What's that $1 million business? And for a lot of us, snow removal is $1 million business. And one of the things that I think is absolutely critical is having reliable equipment. And I can remember early on purchasing equipment that I bought these snowplows. I don't remember the name of them, but I bought 11 of them, and they're like $1,100, $1,200 a piece, and they're like thin aluminum, and they kind of wobble on the front of the truck. And if you hit a curve, they'll bend in half, and like that's how I started out. And then I realized, oh my God, there's amazing equipment like Western. And then I was able to see how it was made, and I was able to see the productivity and the thought, and just how everything is there and everything is available, and the materials are all sourced. And as you mentioned, as a national account, like, you're there to support our teams. So if something goes down or if there is an issue, we've got that backup. It's just not snow equipment on the ground. It's relationship and it's support that helps us as business owners, as entrepreneurs, build that incredible business. And so I love that history that Western has, and the company being 70 years old. How did Western get going? Do you know?
Yeah, so I'll start with Fisher, actually. So, Douglas Dynamics is comprised of three brands: Western, Fisher, and SnowX, all built with the same quality and care as you saw Western being built at SIMA. Fisher was actually founded in 1948, so just had its 75th anniversary. So we've been doing this for a long time. But back in 1952, a gentleman by the name of Douglas Seaman founded Western Welding, which then became Western Snowplows. But it was all based on snow and ice removal equipment. And the name Douglas Seaman, the founder of Western, is where we get the name Douglas Dynamics when we incorporated back in the 70s. And so now all three brands are under one roof and one umbrella with the same care and quality for each brand. So quite a rich history. We've been doing this for a long time. And to your point, I think what a lot of people don't realize is how much we actually build ourselves. Everything from our hydraulics to the plows to the hoppers, all the plastics are roto molded in-house. Everything's painted in-house with an extensive, I believe it's an 8-step paint process, one of the best in the industry. So we really invest a lot of time and energy into making sure that the product that the customer is getting is one of the best in the industry, and it's a product that can be relied on for many years.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's a good investment. One of the things that I talk about, as CEO, is what are the responsibilities of a CEO, and one of those things is key relationships. And I believe that owning key relationships is absolutely critical. And when you build a relationship with a brand like Western or Fisher or SnowX or whatever it is under your umbrella that somebody may be using in a different part of the country, what can they expect relationship wise? What does that look like from your team to support us out in the field?
Well, so that's a really good point. When we talk about reliability in business, you mentioned product. Yes, it's important that you have a quality product you can rely on, but the brand and the product are only as good as the people behind it. And we are committed to healthy, transparent relationships where if a customer needs something, especially during a storm and they have a broken piece of equipment and they're not able to make money with it, that's when they need us the most. And that's when we pride ourselves on great customer service. And from a manufacturing standpoint, we try to operate our manufacturing facilities at about 70 to 80% capacity so that when we do have high demand or big storms and more product is required of us, we are able to ramp up our capacity to meet those needs as well. So everything from manufacturing to communication within a relationship is something that we take very seriously, because at the end of the day, if we don't do it right, you're not able to make money with our product and you're not able to count on us as a partner. So that's a very important part of what we pride ourselves as, not just a brand and not just a product, but a team of people ready to meet your needs.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And I'll say that just my experience with your team has been phenomenal. Always answering the phone, always responding to text. And I know that, you're in the Midwest or East Coast time zone. And, like if I send a note over at 6:30, 7 o'clock, like somebody's responding.
Yeah.
And it might be 8:30, 9 o'clock. So that responsiveness is really important, because it's not like, oh, yeah, nope, it's 4:59. We're out of here today. We'll solve your problems tomorrow. And, we're trying to plow snow all night long, and there's nobody there. And I love that responsiveness. And I love the fact that, like, I think you mentioned to me some time back, like if something happens or there's a part that's down or there's an issue, and like a local dealer can't get it, or we don't have it in our mechanic shop, or something happens, like we can get something FedEx to us if we need it, right, to keep us up and going. So we've got that to rely on as well in the middle of any storm.
Yep, that's absolutely right. The more downtime you have with my product, the less money you make with it, and the less satisfied you are in this relationship. So preventing that at all costs is of paramount importance.
Yeah, I love that. And so one of the things that I'm really excited about, and I won't steal the thunder on it, but you've got a new pusher box that's come out.
We do. For Western, it's called the Pile Driver. It's a pretty historic name, but it's a segmented cutting edge. It trips, it oscillates, the edges raise. It's got movable shoes on the end. It's a very advanced piece of equipment, and definitely stacks up very well with some serious competition in that market. But we're taking that product very seriously, and I'm definitely excited for you guys to start using them, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, we're excited about it too. Listen, this is the only thing that we are putting on our skids and loaders. Like, we are committed to this thing, and I can't wait to show some video. We're going to take a lot of videos of this. We're going to put a lot of videos online about this. so that we can show the productivity. Because one of the things that we talk about is we got to manage cash flow, and when we manage cash flow in business, like, it's all about efficiency. You mentioned that several times. If I've got a piece of equipment that's on my equipment and it's making me more money, if it's making me more efficient, if I'm getting more square footage per hour out of that piece of equipment, if I have less downtime, I'm making more money. We talk about the entrepreneurial journey. We talk about building $1 million business. Putting the wrong equipment on your equipment, on your trucks, on your skid steers, on your loaders, that has a catastrophic effect. I remember, you know, early on in this, I bought just a generic pusher box, and I remember just no nothing fancy, nothing to it, just a box that pushed, and I was like, man, this thing kind of sucks, and I realized, like, no, that's because you bought a bad piece of equipment. And if you put the right equipment, it's like, wow, the productivity goes up. The guys love it. It does better, in the elements. And ultimately, it makes you more money. So that investment in equipment is an investment in your future, but it also keeps your client satisfied. And that's what I love about the whole thing. I also love the name. I'm a boxing fan. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm not a new wrestling fan, I would say, but I grew up in the era of like Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, and so like that's my era of wrestling. So I like the pile driver just because it reminds me of some pretty serious wrestling moves there. So I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna have some fun with that. But yeah, I love that, man. I think that's a great piece of equipment. And how did you guys? What was the methodology behind pushing this piece of equipment out?
Well, as we watched the industry evolve, and we see what commercial contractors are having to do to fulfill their contracts, especially with, let's say, distribution centers as one example. Giant parking lots that you need an efficient piece of equipment to get that parking lot done in a fair amount of time. So efficiency, like you had discussed, getting the snow off the parking lot in a good amount of time is obviously important, but we've also taken into consideration the quality of the scrape with this piece of equipment. This is designed to scrape and contour the ground and scrape down to bare pavement. And as you know, being in this industry, there's a lot of legislation coming out surrounding how much salt you can use and where you can use salt and how you fight ice. And scraping to bare pavement is going to allow you to use a lot less salt as well. So saving on material cost and usage is also a very important piece of this piece of equipment. And I think we nailed it. It scrapes very well, contours the ground, and ultimately, like you said, puts money back in your pocket.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's got an environmental impact that just kind of comes with it. Like, we're able to reduce salt. Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's a great selling point, when you're talking to your clients on site, big distribution. And that's what we plan to actually use this equipment for is places like Sam's Club distribution centers, SpaceX distribution centers. These are some of the clients that we are going to be utilizing this Western equipment on. And so it's great to be able to say, hey, we're putting less salt down. We're putting less salt into our streamways. It's affecting our salmon runs, less and less by being able to do that. So being sustainable, really focusing there. That's I think that's awesome, man. I love that. And in fact, I didn't know that, but that's another talking point that we're going to incorporate into our sales pitches, because one of the things that we love to do, and this is no joke, anytime that we're going out to meet a customer for a snow sale, one of the things that we love to do is, like, we love to take a big truck and haul the equipment that's going to be on site out to the estimate proposal. Or we love to drive the plows with the big V plows and the salt spreaders on the back. And we love to show the customer what piece of equipment is going to be on site, because not that many people do that. They show up in their car, they do an estimate, but we love to give them a tour of the equipment. And so when they see the equipment and they see what type of equipment is going to be on their property, it increases our close rate up to 90% when we can get in front of them like that. And so people want the best. They want to know that their properties are taken care of. And so I love that the pile driver Western is going to be pushing that forward. Now, what size is this available in currently?
So it's currently available in 8 and 10 foot lengths at 30 and 36 inches high. So that those two models right there work fantastic on a mid-size wheel loader or skid steers. It's also available currently in 12 foot wide at 42 inches high, which is great for the bigger loaders. And then next year we'll have 14 and even up to 16 foot models. So really, any piece of equipment you have, at that point, we will have a pusher that's right for your needs and most efficient for your application. So
yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So we're growing, we're making it happen. Now, one of the things that, on this entrepreneurial journey that I always talk about is business is tough.
Yeah.
Business is hard. And, I can, honestly, I can remember, sitting in a 4-day snowstorm. It's not stopping. The snow isn't there. The app on my phone, this is many, many years ago, the app on my phone is telling me that it's not snowing. Sitting in a Walmart parking lot, plowing the parking lot. I've been up for like 3 days straight, whatever it is, and I'm sitting there and I'm plowing, and I'm literally screaming at the phone, why is it still snowing? It's telling me it's not snowing anymore, and I'm getting so mad because I just wanted to stop snowing. And I think I threw my phone, or I might have smashed my phone. I mean, I was on the brink of just utter meltdown, right? Like, this storm would not stop. And we've all been through that. And that was a really, really, tough day. And we, as entrepreneurs, we have these tough days. And sometimes, in this industry, I've seen those tough days. I've seen people quit. There's a snow contractor that worked for us, and I won't say their name, but they've got snow in the name of their service. And they sent out a big email and they said, we're not going to be plowing in tomorrow's storm because the storms that have come before have exhausted our team, and we need to keep people safe, and people's health are more, important than plowing snow. I'm like, wait a minute, you got snow in your name. What are you talking about? How can you say you're going to stop plowing snow when you have snow in your name? And I get all that, but some people buckle under what it takes. And so what do you think from your perspective, your work history, what does it take to go through the toughest day in business, or one of the toughest days in business? And would you share something tough that you've been through for our listeners and how you got through it?
Sure. Yeah. Like you had mentioned, business comes with its challenges, and I don't care if you're working for a company like I am, or if you're an entrepreneur out on your own trying to make your own way, you're going to have challenges. And approximately 10 years ago, I took my first position with a manufacturer. It was an off-road vehicle manufacturer. I was young, naive, inexperienced, and had a chip on my shoulder, thought I knew everything and how to handle situations, right? And that's obvious, pride comes before the fall. But started working with a new customer and was operating under some, let's call it false assumptions, right? Operating under false assumptions, which ultimately led to a failure on my part in serving the customer, not able to stand behind what I had said, establish trust. And that led to a real turning point in my career. It took me 2 years to gain that trust back, reestablish that relationship, and make a clear path forward that worked for everybody. But as you know, in business, some of the most valuable lessons are the hard lessons to learn. It's when you have to humble yourself and realize that I messed up and there's nothing I can do to change that, but I need to course correct moving forward. So that time in my life has changed my career up until this point. It has showed me the importance of integrity and trust and reliability. I mean, at the end of the day, you can have the most reliable product on the planet, but if it's not backed up by a reliable partner, it means nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the lesson I've learned through that. And so the only advice I would have is when those troubles come, when you fail, and you will, embrace it, because you're you're learning something through the process. So don't miss the opportunity to learn the lesson and become a better person because of it.
Yeah, I love that. That's fantastic, and I appreciate the vulnerability, because those things in business, those tough moments, like you said, those are the moments that we get that little callus, we get that, but we also get that reminding lesson. And I think in the snow industry, like we see these things too. And I do a lot of work for Walmart, and we had a Walmart location in Elko, Nevada, and it's like a 240,000 square foot parking lot or something like that. And I think, I don't know what we charge, $1,500 to plow the parking lot. I don't know, something like that. And in Elko, Nevada, there's only like 2 or 3 snowplow providers in the whole city. Like it's just a real small, top of the mountain type place. And we're going through that, and the company that has the equipment and ability to plow this parking lot, they got burned by a national company, and they wanted like $3,500 to plow the lot every time. And it's like, dude, that's not even in the reality of where we're at. But you know what? We said, this is our customer. We're going to take care of our customer. And we worked through that season with that partner, and we lost $50,000 on that site. That's what we paid out of pocket, more so than what we got paid. But we never went to Walmart and said we need more money. We never went and said, hey, we made a mistake on bidding this. We never said, hey, we're getting gouged because somebody serviced this site before and didn't get paid, right? We just stood up, took the lick, and we just said, you know what? This is what partnership is all about. This is what relationship is all about. This is what building a business is all about. I mean, I hate losing that much money. Anybody would. I hate having that process. But because we did that, you know what? The store said that's the best service we've had in, 20 years. And that allowed us to grow to be the 4th largest supplier for Walmart in the system. So just because something is bad, just because you don't know how it's going to turn out, just because you don't know what the path forward always looks like, sometimes it's just about taking one step forward and then taking another step forward and taking another step forward. And had we said we can't service this, or we're bailing out on this, or like that would have tarnished the reputation. It doesn't mean that everything goes perfect every day, because in the snow industry, I don't care who you are, everybody's going to have a failure at some point during their season. How do we own that? How do we step up to that? How do we take it on the chin? And I loved what you said. Sometimes you just gotta humble yourself, man, and sometimes you just gotta eat it. And and I think you just gotta step through that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It can be a tough thing. I think we've got a quick sponsor break here that we're going to take real quick. So just in regard to that, we just want to thank Western Snowplows, as this podcast, The Entrepreneurial Journey, is sponsored by Western Snowplows. Western Snow and Ice Control Equipment has been in business for over 70 years, and has the control and the expertise that you need to take your business to the next level. Western offers plows and spreaders for work trucks, loaders, tractors, and UTVs. They focus on maximizing productivity and efficiency for commercial contractors. And I love the slogan, more jobs done faster. And we love that. And we love to see that equipment on our trucks today. We know that when we have that Western equipment, when we've got those V plows and those whiteout plows, we know that when we've got those on our equipment, that we are going to be able to serve our clients faster and better. And I particularly love the whiteout plow. Like, that's one of my absolute favorite plows. I love the scoopability. I love the stacking with it. I love the quick efficiency in and out. That's my personal favorite plow. I still have a plow truck to this day. And when we have a snowstorm, I like to go play around in the snow and plow a few parking lots. I still like to do that. You will see that my Ford F-350 is always outlined with a whiteout plow. I love that. I love the scooping, and I love the power, and I love the fact that it gets to blacktop. So I love that equipment. That's what you see on our trucks. We believe that makes us more money. It makes us more efficient. and it makes us a better company. And so we love having that equipment on our trucks and on our loaders here today. So that's what we've got for sponsorship, and we absolutely love it. And that's a great thing. So reliable systems, reliable people. What does a dealer go through? What does the dealer training look like? So most of us who are going to buy equipment are going to go to a local dealer, and we're going to walk in the front door and we're going to say, hey, we want a snowplow. How do we know that we're getting the best from those dealers? What does that process look like with you guys?
And that can be an aspect of being a manufacturer that can be tough, is finding the right dealer partners, because ultimately they're representing us, right? But we have over 3,000 points of sale across the country when you consider truck and skid steers, tractors, off-road vehicles. But we have a multitude of resources. We have a great training team comprised of 4 people who are doing a phenomenal job providing our dealers with everything from tech service to tech service training, to parts training, to product training. They know the ins and outs of the product. And then at the same time, sales training and business training. We have all sorts of resources so that they can be the best that they'd like to be. But keep in mind that we are always supporting them in any way. At any point, they can pick up the phone and ask for us to step in and help with a certain problem that a customer may be having. And we have a very good team inside that does that as well. So regardless of what direction you go, I'm confident that you'll be in good hands with one of our dealers.
Yeah, that's cool. You know what, man? One of the first plows I bought, this is a true story. One of the first plows I bought was a yellow plow. It wasn't a Fisher, but it's the other company that makes yellow plows. And I bought the snow plow. It was the first time I plowed snow, and I needed to keep my guys busy in the winter. And I got a contract with Kohl's. I was plowing Kohl's parking lots. And we take the snow plow out, and there's like 6 or 7 of us out there, and we're standing around the plow. And I get in the plow, and we put the plow on the ground. We put the blade on the ground, and I push the snow. And I go, okay, it's sparking. Is that good or bad? Should this thing be a little bit off the ground, or should the blade be grinding like this? I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm like, am I going to ruin the pavement? Like, I didn't even know what I was doing, man. Like, just trying to figure it out. So training is so important. People are so important. Resources are so important. But the thing that I learned with that yellow plow was that, man, if you wanted to put that on the front of your truck, I mean, like, you got to have like jacks out and levels out, and there's like 2 or 3 people struggling and fighting to put this thing on. I'm not kidding you. Like, I mean, it can take, and I'm not joking, an hour, like in the beginning when you're first learning, like even intermediate, like it can take an hour and a half to get that plow on that truck. And so if it starts snowing and you're not ready, or you're doing your other job as a owner operator, which many of us are, owner operators who, you know, on this call, like if you lose an hour and a half or an hour trying to put your plow on, man, you are absolutely burnt to the ground. So talk to us a little bit about the ease of stepping into one of these plows. We know we've got the truck mount on the front. We know we've got the, you know, the truck set on level, the plow set on level ground. How do we engage that? What has Western done to really simplify that process to get the plow on the truck and get the truck out in the field as quickly as possible?
Yeah, so a few years ago, we patented what's called the Ultra Mount 2, and it is a phenomenal mounting system, by far the easiest in the industry. You drive into the plow, it slides into the receivers, you get out of the truck, you hook up the wire and flip the hook. Get back, you know, it's a 20-second process, and your plow's on your truck, and you're off to the races. And, you know, if you have a fleet of trucks with Western plows on, and let's say you have a plow break, the nice part is all the mounts are the same. So you could take a Western plow from another truck and use it on this truck, and you'll have interchangeability options within your fleet then as well if something goes down. But it's a very nice setup. And, you know, one of the aspects of plow mounts on trucks is a lot of them in the industry hang down really low, and you can't take it off during the summertime. So if you're using the truck for landscaping or hauling trailers or whatever, having that ground clearance can be important. And so our mounts that hang down low are actually receivers that pin in place, and they can be taken out during the off season as well to ensure that you still have the same usability and ground clearance of that vehicle during landscaping time as any other truck in your fleet. So it doesn't handicap you in the off season either.
Well, that's awesome. So what you're saying is when I'm driving my truck through the Home Depot parking lot, I'm not going to be banging my plow mount on all the speed bumps and ripping them off as I'm going through the parking lot. That's basically what we're talking about here.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Nothing worse than taking off a speed bump and dragging it down the highway.
That's right.
That's a real. So the interchangeability. So let me ask you a question, and I don't know, but if I have a wide out plow, and I have a V plow, and I have a straight blade plow, is the mount the same? Can I, like, if my straight blade goes down, can I pull into a V plow?
That's exactly right. You could swap those plows amongst any of the vehicles with the Ultra mount on. It's all the same. Yep.
Wow, that is amazing. And
yeah.
How do the years function in that? Is it the same through like 2013 through 23, or does it change at some point?
I want to say the Ultra Mount 2 came out in like 2008 or 2009. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was 2008. And so from that point forward, everything with an Ultra Mount could be interchangeable through today. Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. So if I've had my plow for a long time and it's done its job, I can literally swap in. And you know what? I actually love that, because the fact of the matter is that sometimes a plow wing will break, or a hydraulic line will go down, or you'll break an edge, or something happens, and it's just nice to be able to pull into another plow that's prepped and ready to go. Or maybe you have a truck that's down, like maybe something happens to the truck itself and that truck is down but the plow is still good, and so you can swing that truck in and you can pick up that plow, which makes us more efficient, which gives a better experience to our customer, which makes us more money, which makes us happy entrepreneurs.
Yeah, limiting downtime is very important. So having a spare truck or a spare plow is always, and just having those options in general is always a very big benefit to being efficient.
Yeah, that's cool. So one of the things I loved on the tour, it was, how long does it take the manufacturing at the Western plant? How long does it take to make each plow?
That's a great question. I would say on average, it probably takes hour and a half, maybe, per plow. But as they roll out the door, I mean, it's a great assembly line and a very good smooth process. So, we go through quite a few plows per day, everything from raw material to paint. So we go through probably north of 50,000 plows a year in production.
Wow.
And we've got some very, very smart people on the manufacturing side who've made that facility as efficient as possible. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I love that. I think that, that's one of the things that was so impressive to me when I took the tour. And I always talk about the tour, but the tour is it's one of those things that always sticks out to me. It's one of those things that's kind of a big deal, of learning where your equipment comes from, learning how it's put together, learning who makes it. It's all made in America. I love that. Red, white, and blue roots. Dad, Vietnam veteran, Korean War veteran, just military. In our history, I love that when we buy a Western plow, we're supporting American jobs, we're supporting American manufacturing. I love that. I love that aspect of what Western brings to the table. So I think that's really exciting. As we bring this thing in for a landing, any final thoughts to share with our audience?
Well, this being the entrepreneurial journey, we do work with some smaller contractors and franchisees who are trying to get up and going, and we offer some training resources for them as well. Everything from when you get started in this industry, you don't even know what truck to buy. What truck is best for the application. That's my biggest piece of advice is make sure you know what you're getting into before you buy equipment. Are you going to do residential? Are you going to do parking lots? Are you all commercial? Are you aiming for the distribution centers? Because that makes a big difference in what equipment you buy. The vehicle that's meant to do those distribution centers is not going to work well for residential and vice versa. So really trying to narrow down your focus and what your business should look like should be step one. But if we can help in that, we're here and we're willing to help. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that, and I'll just share that my favorite piece of equipment for trucks is the F-350, or 3500. I don't care if it's Dodge, Ford, Chevy. I don't, whatever you like, but I like the 3500 because I think it's easy to get around in. I don't do the big crew cabs. I like just the standard because it reduces the size of the overall truck. But that's the truck that I love to have on the road. It's big, it's heavy, it can move the snow, it does a great job. When I step up to like distribution type stuff, and we have plows on distributions, typically we're going to use loaders on the distribution centers. But if we do have a truck on a distribution center, it's going to be like an F550, and we'll put a 750 gallon tank or a big hopper on the back of it, to do de-icing. So those are the trucks that I like. And if you're talking about skid steers, I really love the Cat skid steers, and I love the Cat 908s and 906s. For the little mid-sized loaders, those are because they're versatile, they turn well. So just like sharing some good tips on the equipment, those are some of the things that we utilize and that we have found work well for our business. I don't suggest buying an F-250 or lower, or 2500 or 3/4 ton or lower truck. They just don't seem to have the pay weight necessary to be successful. You mentioned training tips. If someone is getting into this business, if they're rolling out, where can they find this information from you guys?
So we'll have a lot more to come on that, but let's say just from the equipment side, if they go to our website, westernplows.com, there's a little link called Quick Match. And you can take any vehicle you're thinking about buying or already own and plug that in and see exactly what product is available for that vehicle. So that's always a good thing to do. If you're buying a diesel, you may, with the extra weight on the front axles already from the manufacturer, you may be limited in your options, but that's always good to do. But from a training standpoint on, the do's and don'ts of business, we are hosting right now. We've been trying out what we call a snow school. We do that for some franchisees once a year, just to try to get them started, because these guys are green and they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But our training team is also working on a lot more of that material. So I'll have more to come on that in the near future as well.
That's awesome. I love the snow school. And, that's true about the diesel. So, like, we used to think, oh man, diesels were the best trucks. But the truth of the matter is that the extra front end on the axle reduces the type of plows that you can actually put on those trucks. And so you may not be able to do that unless you add airbags or you add some kind of lift kit to it, or you like there's little things that you may have to do with the diesel truck. So one of our things is, for our snowplow trucks, we only buy gas trucks for the most part. Like, we might have a diesel here and there just because we couldn't get a gas fuel truck or something, but we run primarily gas trucks. So I think that's another great tip. These are those little tips and tricks that you learn along the way that really help you take your business to the next level. And so I think that's fantastic. The snow school, that sounds amazing. And I love that Quick Match, because I had a friend of mine who bought a snowplow and it was too big for his truck, and he was doing the install himself. And what happened was it caused constant overheating, and it was a problem because it was just so heavy on the front end. So did so much damage to his truck that putting the wrong plow on your truck, just because it's bigger, doesn't mean it's better. Doesn't mean that you're going to get a better program. So be very cognizant of the equipment that you put on your truck and use the right equipment. So that Quick Match is an awesome thing for those of you starting out. This was an awesome call. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. One thing to note on that Quick Match: everything that's recommended for a vehicle on Quick Match has been approved by the vehicle manufacturer. So we are It is not what Western has approved or we recommend. It's what's actually approved by the manufacturer of your vehicle. So you can rest assured that what you're putting on your vehicle is safe and approved.
Yeah, that's awesome. And a lot of vehicles, if you order them, you can actually order them with a snowplow package that helps beef up the front end a little bit. Listen, this was a fantastic call, Billy. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy day to join us and spend time with us. I took some great tips away. The environmental was huge for me. That's a great selling point. Learned some great things on this call. Absolutely fantastic. If you liked this call, if this was good for you, give it a like, give it a share. Follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Facebook, and we're so glad that you joined our show. We'll be back next week, 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Tuesday morning. Billy, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it.
My friend, have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.